welcome to the top 9 of my personal musical artists. Hopefully the audio is working because it's important for this video, as in music itself. Now, when this goes live, I'm also putting up a playlist on Spotify. You can check it out. I'll have the link in the description below for everybody to see my top 9 artists and my favorite songs by them. That's not all of the songs that obviously they've made or that I like, but it's my top ones. So let's go ahead and get into it. These aren't really going to be in any particular order. It is like a top 9, but it's like they're all kind of... There are ones that will be pretty much... When we get to like the top 2, you'll pretty much know what I'm going to pick if you know me. But some of these you might not know. And if you're here for the first time, welcome to Jurassic Park. So we're going to go ahead and start off with Phil Collins. Phil Collins is, I was born in 1982, and Phil Collins is an artist that has been around for a long time. Started off in Genesis, and him and Peter Gabriel went their own way, and Phil Collins just kept pumping out the hits. Not that Peter Gabriel didn't, but that's just kind of the, thing there. And he has a lot of songs that over the years, they're just kind of go-to songs that are going to be on the playlist, and a couple of them I'm going to go ahead and talk about right now. You Can't Hurry Love, You'll Be in My Heart, Strangers Like Me, both from the Tarzan soundtrack, Take Me Home, Easy Lover. Those are some of my favorite ones that will be on the playlist, and I go back to. Obviously, he has way more hits than that, but those are my personal favorites. How about yours? Are you a fan of Phil Collins? Let's move on to the next artist. We got it all on UHF. Weird Al Yankovic. So when I was younger, I think he's probably the first artist I really got into, maybe besides one of the other that we're going to talk about here on the list. And just the idea that you could make a parody of a song and actually have it be like it tops the charts. And at least for me, as growing up as a young nerd, I was like, oh, this is great, this is awesome. And then coming out with, keep reinventing himself with songs like White and Nerdy and Amish Paradise and stuff like that. I think at one point maybe people thought, oh, Weird Al, he's just that guy that makes like parody songs, but he's far surpassed that, in my opinion, to become a respected artist. Some of my favorites by him would be the UHF theme from the movie. Honestly, that's probably one of my favorite ones, and I've listened to that one a ton. It's just an overall great original song. Like I said before, Amish Paradise, White and Nerdy, all the polkas he does. Like, I love the music compilations where he took popular songs, and leading into the next artist that's kind of linked in my eye with Mr. Al is Michael Jackson. That was my crappy Michael Jackson impersonation. But Michael Jackson, when I was growing up, he's the king of pop. And the reason why I said link to Weird Al Yankovic is because just like Beat It was huge for Michael Jackson, when Eat It came out for Weird Al, I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. But Michael Jackson, of course, started off Jackson 5, and just continued to rise until he became bigger than life. I mean, I don't think, regardless of what you say about him, I don't think there's many people that can deny that as a musician, he, you know, did everything that you can do. And coming out with so many hits over the years is no small feat. I remember when music videos would come out by his, it was like an event. Everybody in the family would just, it was like the last kind of time that I really remember. One of the times I remember when people would just sit down and watch TV together as an event, like a music video, like, oh my God, Michael Jackson, we have to watch this. This is a brand new video coming out. And I think that just goes to show how much of a hold he had on pop culture. They don't call him the king of pop for nothing. I could go on for a while here talking about Michael Jackson, but for me, it's like The Way You Make Me Feel, Thriller, of course, Human Nature, Can You Feel It? These might not be like the biggest, obviously Thriller is, but I mean, as far as like mainstream, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, Rock With You, Man in the Mirror, Dangerous, just all great hits. I mean, he's had so many awesome songs that's just a small sampling. Go on to the next artist here. I'm going to talk about Huey Lewis and the News. So Huey Lewis and the News for me is one of those bands that it's kind of like not a lot of people really talk about Huey Lewis and the News anymore. It was definitely an encapsulated time, 80s for Huey Lewis with the big hits that he's had. Always linked to Back to the Future franchise and a bunch of other great songs, in my opinion, that he's had. But throughout the years, I don't remember too much like keeping up with him as far as like, you know, that same style. But he'll always have a place like on a list for me of the top 9 or so because of those early songs that I remember hearing and being blown away by, including Back in Time, Power of Love, and I've got a couple here that Do You Believe in Love, If This Is It, The Heart of Rock and Roll, Walking on a Thin Line. It's a lot of earlier stuff, but there's also Jacob's Ladder. Just a bunch of great stuff. All this is in the playlist. I'm going to go for someone here next that I don't know. He's probably the least well-known out of any of the people I'm going to talk about on this list, but just as important. It's not a real heart, it is a real artificial heart. Jonathan Coulton. So, for me at least, I remember his big breakout stuff that I remember was when Valve released 2 video games back in the day. They were puzzle games, first person, kind of like Wolfenstein or Doom, or I don't know why I'm going that far back, but first person from your perspective, called Portal, where you use guns to solve puzzles and stuff. But he had 2 tracks on each one. Well, 1 track on each one. And that's kind of where I had first heard of him. And ever since then, I've been a huge fan. He kind of is in that same vein of Weird Al, except for he doesn't really do like song parodies. I mean, he makes like funny songs, but some of them are also like serious. Not that, but like it's more folksy and like I don't know. It's kind of hard to like some of the songs that he's done, like for Portal, is like I'm Still Alive, or Still Alive, essentially about a robot that is like killed, but at the end sings like, oh, you didn't kill me, that kind of thing. I'm Still Alive. Artificial Heart. These are ones on my list. Want You Gone. That's another one that's from Portal 2, I think. Yeah, it's got to be right. and just so many other ones. I mean, so at one point he did like a song a week, I think it was, and it was like he came out with so many songs, and they were all so good. But the ones that I remember specifically is like Skull Crusher Mountain, a guy talking about how he, is like a Dr. Evil and kidnapped this like essentially like lady to like be like, I don't know. You just gotta listen to it. Re Your Brains got about a guy that turned into a zombie and it's like office speak essentially. And Code Monkey, that's another thing. Jonathan Coulton used to be, he was a programmer at one point, and like a lot of people, he was not happy with his job and ended up turning that into a successful career in songmaking. So congrats to him for that. For turning something that he was passionate about into, I almost said an obsession, but I mean, turning something he's passionate about into a career. So what's next on the list? Well, I'll have to say it's time for I need somebody help. So the next one is the Beatles, and whoa, holy crap, what a deep cut that is. But I'm a fan of the Beatles because they're kind of like Phil Collins for me. They're like a staple. It's not really, it's like Michael Jackson. It's not really something too shocking, but at the same time, there are so many bands out there I don't think that would have existed without the Beatles. Influential wise, not saying that like they personally created them, but like they've created so many songs to me that they've gone pretty much from like a poppy boy band to like experimental, and that's just in the amount of time that they had their careers. That's not even to mention, their solo stuff. Ringo and like Paul with Wings and just all kinds of stuff that, and Live and Let Die. I think that's probably one of my favorite Bond themes. And just all that encapsulated into just, this band that of 4 people that were so talented, but created so much in such a short amount of time. I think that's why the mystique around the Beatles is so big, is that it's like, well, what if they had all continued to be together, or what if they had all lived past a certain point? Like, what could they have created? What more could they have created? What other directions would they went into? And yeah, I totally understand that part of it. That's, at least to me, I can see the obsession with it. But In My Life is probably one of my favorite songs by them. It's one of their later songs, but it talks about how essentially there are people that have passed away, people that maybe they're not with anymore or close to, but through the years they'll always continue to keep them in their heart and stuff. But as you get older, it's a song that you like see yourself coming to terms more with and understanding more. Some of the songs that I'm a huge fan of is definitely Help, Get Back, Here Comes the Sun, and then these 3 right here are like songs that I consider just one song: Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight, and The End. And there's so many other great ones. I Want to Hold Your Hand. I mean, just from the very beginning of their career. But they've just got so many great songs. And, this isn't like a Beatles love fest, but I guess it is. But from one icon to the next, let's go on to Sir Elton John, baby. Yeah, I mean, people that know me know I'm a huge Elton John fan. I got a live album, I think it was either for my birthday or for Christmas randomly. I didn't ask for it, I just randomly got it from my parents one year. and I was aware of Elton John, but it like blew me away, because he had like a bunch of guest singers on the live performance that came out, and it was awesome. And I've been a huge fan of Elton John since then, not just for his work, you know, as a singer, but also for his, you know, the way he just carries himself. And also, I like, just like Phil Collins, he's created some great animated music and soundtracks and stuff, just in general. I think that Elton John is like, he's definitely, I think by now, what are we like? This is like, we've only got a couple people left, so I think he's probably in my top 2 or 3 people. I guess he is on this list. So, but some of the songs for sure that I'm a huge fan of Elton's. I have to keep pulling this list up because sometimes I have issues remembering stuff with, you know, music and stuff, because then I'll, you know, I make a video like this and then I'll go, oh, I completely forgot about this, which I guess for time's sake might not be the worst. Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting. That's a great one. I think it's kind of used a lot, but I can't hate on it. Don't Go Breaking My Heart, your song. I think my most played, I don't know why, because I don't have any like trauma with any relationships or anybody like just in general screwing me over, is I'm Still Standing. I don't know, I think that song just kicks ass. And you know, and El Dorado, From the Road to El Dorado, Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me, and I guess that's why they call it the blues. Great songs. They're on the list. Like I said, I'll put the link up, and so I think we're down into the top 2 here, and number 2 is Daft Punk. So Daft Punk, Elton John, and number 1 are kind of all linked to me, and let's do like separation of Kevin Bacon here, but essentially Daft Punk, I found out who they were at the exact same time I found out the number 1 band. Anybody that knows me already knows, you know, I've already talked about all these other bands, so you probably know exactly who it is. Anybody that's watched the channel, I've watched, or I have shirt of this band. So shocking, number 1 is Gorillaz. So Gorillaz did a song with Elton John when everything was locked down and COVID, when they did Song Machine, and it's awesome, The Phantom. And then Daft Punk, I found out who they were the exact same time, the exact same like day as Gorillaz, because with Daft Punk on Cartoon Network, they had this, you know, I would watch stuff, and they had this thing where they showed like animated music videos. Some of them I don't remember who they even were, but one I remember specifically, or 2, was the Daft Punk, you know, one that they played, which was like a Voltron kind of thing, animation with their music, and then Gorillaz, which I think it was either 2000 or I can't remember, man, I should have looked this up, but and then Elton John, like I said, Elton John did the song with them, but they're kind of linked because of that. But so let's go back to Daft Punk. So Daft Punk, some of my favorites by them: Instant Crush, Get Lucky. These are their newer songs before they sadly broke up. Around the World, Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger, Digital Love. They did the Tron soundtrack, which freaking rules. And just so many other great songs. And Aerodynamic, the Daft Punk remix. I mean, all their stuff is just great for remixing. I'd be here all day if I was going to talk about Daft Punk. But I remember seeing that music video of theirs and being like blown away. I was just like, oh my god, like what is this? You know, it was like anime and then the music video, which were like two things right up my alley. And then they played the either Clint, I think it was either, yeah, I think it was 2000 or Clint Eastwood. I can't remember which one it was. But for Gorillaz, Feel Good Inc. on Melancholy Hill, Clint Eastwood, Dare 19, and then they've done some newer stuff. Cracker, well, they keep doing stuff, but I mean, I could list their entire discography. They're pretty much the one band that I'll listen to all their stuff. I mean, all these other ones too, for sure, but like this is like my number one. If I had to put these in order, Cracker Island, and then one that I've listened to recently quite a bit. Pink Phantom, of course, for Gorillaz, but Silent Running. So yeah, I mean, Gorillaz, a band that is essentially doesn't exist. I mean, they do exist, but like their front characters are fake to a degree. I mean, obviously Damon and like everybody involved in that and stuff like that brings them to life, but that's something that I think that like I kind of like I've always kind of looked up to, something like that, being able to take something and create, you know, a fictional character. I mean, that went all the way back to like something like AVGN with all those different things, and then the characters, you know, that they had, and you know, essentially, you know, that's why we have like Vince on the show and stuff. Is I just like that kind of thing, different characters, kind of creating a world or whatever, even if it's just for fun and stuff, which is what it should be for. I mean, this isn't serious, and I think that it's awesome that the Gorillaz are still around and still doing stuff. There for a while, I was afraid they were kind of not going to do anything, but they've been pumping so much stuff out, and it's always good. So, good job, Gorillaz. Good job, everybody else on this list that I listed. That I, you know, if somebody put well, let's just not say what they'd put to my head to make me think of like what it would be of the rest of this list. But these are my top 9. So this is Mike from the future, and as usual, I forgot something. I wanted to do honorable mentions here. This isn't all of the honorable mentions. I might open up a playlist at some point that I'll also post of other stuff. But Offspring, I think that was like the first album that I personally went out and bought. George Michael, Wham, Billy Joel, and the first concert I ever went to was from a band called Freeze Pop. They're a lot bigger now, but back then it was like, I remember going to a concert and they played like on the top area of like a church, like I guess, like, I don't know, and like we sat in pews, I guess, to watch him perform, and there wasn't a ton of people there, but it was awesome. And yeah, so those are my top 9. Go ahead, and I want you guys to leave a comment below and tell me what you think of all of my choices and my playlist. And I want you to suggest me some of your music. What's your top 9? What do you think about music and how it shapes your life and your experiences? I hope you guys have a great day. Keep rocking, and don't forget to subscribe and like. Leave me, I guess, a comment about what you want the next video to be about, or I'll keep winging it. Until next time, keep on rocking out.